Hi, listeners. It's Becca and Brooke with the College Admissions Insider podcast. We're here to remind you of Bucknell's application deadlines for this year.
For incoming first-year students, our Early Decision 1 deadline is November 1st. And for Early Decision 2 and regular decision applicants, our deadline is January 10th. We can't wait to meet you through your application.
In our last College Admissions Insider minisode, we shared some advice for weighing your admissions offers and making a decision. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. There's no one better to walk high school seniors through the process than students who were in their shoes not too long ago. I'm Becca Haupt-Aldridge from Bucknell University.
And I'm Brooke Thames, also from Bucknell. In this episode, we've invited our very own first-year college students to share how they chose the school that was best for them. We'll talk about their journey from applying to deciding, as well as some advice they have for current college-bound students. So let's kick it off with introductions. Can you tell us your names, majors, and home states?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name is Brian. I'm from Newcastle, Delaware, and I'm majoring in mechanical engineering.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Trejo. I'm from Springfield, Virginia, and I'm majoring in business analytics.
Thank you both for joining us. We love when we can bring student voices onto the podcast. Before we dive into your decision-making process, I wonder how each of you heard about Bucknell to begin with.
Well, I didn't hear about Bucknell until I entered into the posse interview process early my senior year, so it was about the beginning in August of my senior year. As the nominees would progress throughout the rest of the first semester, we had to research schools on which ones we ranked, and I ended up ranking Bucknell as my number one because, I liked what I saw when I was doing my research, but ultimately I chose Bucknell and Bucknell chose me.
Yeah. So I heard about Bucknell because of a program my advisor was telling me about. The program was an engineering camp. I was able to stay on campus for a week learning about the different branches of engineering.
So Brian, I would love to hear a little bit more about your experience in the engineering camp. What about that made you want to apply?
Yeah, my experience on campus was great. The students and faculty were very welcoming, and the campus was just a nice and enjoyable place to be at, especially during the summer. The connections I was able to make with some of the students were nice, and those were just some of the reasons why it made me apply.
I'm curious, did you know going into engineering camp that was an area that you wanted to possibly major in or explore more in college, or did that camp really show you all the possibilities?
Yeah, in my high school, I was already in the engineering path, and I kind of knew that I wanted to get into engineering. And just coming to the camp at Bucknell just really solidified my wanting to become an engineer.
And Nicole, I loved when you said that you chose Bucknell and Bucknell chose you. What were some of the things that stood out to you and made you add Bucknell to your list?
Ultimately, I really liked the size of Bucknell. I knew I wanted to go to a university where my class sizes would be smaller around almost any type of class I would take. And I wanted professors who would know me and notice when I'm there, if I'm not there, and check up on me. And that has happened so far and throughout my experience in my first year, and I do really enjoy that. I also really liked the liberal arts aspect of Bucknell's education, since I wasn't 100% certain in which major I was going to be 100% all in for. I originally came in as finance, and now I'm business analytics, so I just had some room for exploration, and Bucknell's allowing me to explore even outside of my major. So I'm currently taking an anthropology course that I really like, along with all my business classes.
Yeah, I love hearing how you're making the most of Bucknell's liberal arts foundation. And so now that we know what stood out to both of you, let's go back to the application process. Nicole, as an early decision applicant, you knew that Bucknell would be the place that you would be enrolling if admitted. What were some of the biggest factors that led you to decide that you were willing to commit that early?
Right before my final round interview with the Posse Foundation, right before I had to commit to the early decision contract, I came to Bucknell on the Journey to Bucknell program that I applied for. I came, and funny enough, I think Brian was on that same trip. So that was a cool, fun fact. But I got to see the campus, and it was a very intimate group, and it was small and focused, and I really liked that. I liked how welcoming the campus was. Like Brian said earlier, everybody seemed so nice and friendly, and it was a great experience, and I felt comfortable, and I felt that I could really see myself making the most of my time here, and I just felt ready to be here.
And so, Brian, you applied regular decision, which is a great option for students who want to compare and contrast their options before they make a final decision by that national decision deadline, which is May 1st. When looking at all of your options, how did you go about ranking them or prioritizing them? Was there any back and forth as you deliberated between two schools? And ultimately, how did you end up at Bucknell?
Yeah, definitely. Like what Nicole said as well, one of the main factors in choosing Bucknell was the class size. Like I wanted to have a pretty good relationship with my professor, just in case if I ever needed help with any classwork, just if I just wanted to talk to them about anything. And also, one of the big factors was how much I had to pay for. They helped a lot with that. So that's kind of what made Bucknell stand out at one of the higher spots. Talking about going back and forth with this school, I was in a situation where I was debating if I should stay in state or not, mainly because the amount of my friends that were staying in state, it made it a lot harder because I was debating on it if I wanted to stay with them or if I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. And the final push that made me go to Bucknell definitely leaning more towards getting out of my comfort zone and getting to meet new people. So I live about 3 hours away from Bucknell, and the distance played a big role in my final decision, mainly because I wanted to be far from home, but not too far either. I like the feeling of being away from home, but at the same time, I like to know that my family and friends can come and visit me whenever they have a day available. And the distance just made Bucknell rank even higher on my decision list.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation as Brian. Bucknell is about a 4-hour drive from my hometown. And I think that was an ideal distance that I was looking for when I was applying to schools. It's like far enough, but not too far. My family can come up and visit like over the weekend if they want, or vice versa, where I would go down. And also one thing I like about Bucknell's location in central Pennsylvania is the fact that it is close to major cities, or a 3-hour drive to DC, New York, Philadelphia. So there's a lot of opportunity for like day bus trips that the campus does, which is something that I find really interesting.
So it sounds like Bucknell kind of struck a nice balance in terms of distance. Not too close, but also not too far. And so while we're speaking about, your families and your friends back at home and what role they play in the decision process, I know that each of you are first generation students, meaning that you're the first in your families to attend a 4-year institution. Can you talk a little bit about how that influenced your process, or were you aware of that as you navigated the application process?
Yeah, I was definitely aware of that while applying, especially through like the whole FAFSA situation and just getting to the schools and learning about how everything works, like a private versus public institution, for example. And my family wasn't initially like that involved until we started touring schools. And that was normally just my mom and I. So my mom got to see Bucknell with me for the first time I came up here. So she was like all in for me going out of state. Like she loved the school. But then the rest of my family didn't get to experience that. So they were still a little bit like confused and just they felt out of the loop. So it honestly wasn't until September where I already moved in and it was family weekend. They all came up and I got to just show them the study spots that I have around campus, like where I eat, where I hang out, my dorm and whatnot. And I think that really helped smooth the transition of like being the first, I guess, baby bird to leave the nest, because I am like first generation and the oldest child as well. So it's just helping smooth the transition over and letting my parents have that peace of mind and just bringing them into my little world over here at Bucknell.
Yeah, so as a first generation student, I would definitely want to take into consideration the schools that would help the students that are first gen. And with that, my family wasn't too involved with my decision. What they did, encourage me to come out of my comfort zone and try something new. Other than that, they couldn't really help me on which college to choose because they weren't familiar with this process or which college was the best one for me. They did support my decision because they knew that I would take advantage of any opportunities that came my way. And all in all, we're all happy that I decided to come to Bucknell.
Thank you so much, you both, for sharing your experiences there as first generation students. And family is just one area of support, even for students who aren't the first in their families to go to a 4-year institution. there's so many other people ready and willing to kind of support students on their journey. And so I'm curious, did you both find other resources outside of your family, whether that was high school counselors or even folks at Bucknell?
Yeah, so as a Posse Scholar, it is a program is attached to the scholarship that it comes with. It was my entire senior year from January to July. I had weekly pre-collegiate training sessions in DC that I had to go to. There was a lot of sessions based on writing resumes, how to write a informative and argumentative essay. And we did a lot of training like that throughout the summers. We had a retreat, a bonding experience, because we're a cohort initially with 10 kids going to a university together, meant to support each other throughout our 4 years. So I have Posse back home in DC, but then I also have my actual Posse, my 10 peers, with me on campus as well.
Yeah, I have both at home and in school. So at home, I had my advisor, which Anna Morgan. She helped me a good amount with how to transition or what schools to really look for and just programs to apply for as well. I didn't really have what Nicole had was a Posse Foundation. I didn't really have that, but I did have friends who would encourage or lead me to the right path. I also had my sister, which she is a senior in college right now, and she definitely helped me a lot with the process of college. And at Bucknell, I'm a Gateway Scholar, and then we also have a big cohort of students that are similar to me. Chris Brown, he's one of the main people that run the Gateway, and we would have weekly meetings just to catch up on whatever was new with me. And that was nice because it gives me somebody to talk to just so I could express myself or whatever I really need to. There's also another one, the Engineer Success Alliance. They're the same as me, but engineers. And it's just a group of people, a group of first years, second years, up to seniors that we could just build community with. And that just really helped transition from being at home, from going to Bucknell.
It's amazing to hear all the different ways that folks in your lives, as well as people at Bucknell, have really shepherded you through this process and helping you choose the school that would be best for your journeys. And so as we round out this episode, I wonder if you both could also serve that role for some of the students who are listening. Can you tell us some of your advice for current high school seniors who are in the midst of figuring out where they want to attend?
Yeah, definitely. The one thing I would like to emphasize is to get out of your comfort zone and don't be afraid to make new connections. Put yourself out there and don't be afraid to try new things because you never know of the new people you might meet along the way. That honestly was one of the things that helped me transition into a new environment like Bucknell. It just helped it make it much better. And just the one piece of advice that I would like to emphasize to everyone.
My piece of advice would be definitely, if you can, try to tour the schools that you're really, really interested in. I believe that a school can look so good on paper or online, especially when you're researching it. But if you ever get the opportunity or find an opportunity to go see it in person and feel the atmosphere and actually envision yourself walking around and going into those buildings, that can really solidify your decision. So I definitely recommend it if you could go.
Brian and Nicole, this was such a heartwarming episode with tons of nuggets of wisdom that I'm sure our listeners are going to take and run with them. And from Brooke and I just getting to know your stories a little bit more on this episode, we're both thrilled to have you here at Bucknell, and you have some really exciting years ahead. So thanks again for joining us.
And thanks to everyone out there for listening. If you're a fan of the podcast, please take a moment to rate, subscribe, and share this episode with the students and families in your life.
We'll be back with another new episode in a few weeks. In the meantime, send your questions, comments, and episode ideas to podcast@bucknell.edu. We read every note you send.
And finally, you're invited to follow Bucknell on your favorite social media apps. Just look for @BucknellU on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also follow our student-run Instagram account, which is @IamRayBucknell.